Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm really excited to introduce our guest to you for today. She is a dear friend of mine, and she's got so much knowledge. I can't believe she hasn't been on the show yet, but I'm excited to introduce you to Kareen Zahr. She's a business coach, and she's also the founder and creator of the Hey Kareen app. Hey, Kareen, welcome to the show.
Hey, Whitney. I'm so excited to be here. You know, our conversations could go on for hours, so we're going to keep it succinct and for your listeners today. I'm ready.
Yes, if we need to do a part two, we can always do a part
Yes,
two,
so there's always
which
parts.
I feel like there's so much to say. And like I said, I had this moment where I was like, wait a minute, Kareen hasn't been on the show? Like, what?
Divine timing, though. Honestly, this is like the best time, I think, for both of us to be connected in this way and to be able to share, because you and I have grown so much through the time we've known each other in our businesses directly and in life, that like the topics are plethora for us to dive into. So I'm just happy to
Heck
be
yeah.
here now.
Heck yeah. We just kicked off the year of the fire horse.
Yes, it is fiery.
Yeah, and we're both fire signs.
Mhm.
So we got some
Jealous.
Aries and Leo energy happening here, which is probably why we're such good friends.
Yes.
Okay, well, how about this? Let's start off. I always like to let our guests kick it off by telling a little bit about who you are and what you do now, but also give us a little
Sure.
scoop about the background of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so who I am, I mean, it's like I'm that deep question, right? Like I'm many layers, many things. I like the whole multi-hyphenated life we can live now, as especially as women in business, because we're never just one thing. What I would say, to summarize like my gifting, which is where I try to help others also lead their businesses from, is that I believe I'm a conduit, honestly, to help others achieve what they want out of life and business. And I do that through different modalities, you know? So whether it's from leveraging my Hey Kareen app, which you mentioned earlier, it's basically taken all my coaching acumen over the 20 plus years that I've been in business, stuck it into AI, cloned myself and launched that out. Has been an amazing game changer for me in my own practice, because it makes me ensure that someone else, the version of me, can support others when I might not have the time or the capacity. So that was a big growth spurt I went through recently that has shaped my business a little differently. And how I got here to become a business growth strategist and coach now for others, an advisor. I invest. I've written books. I run workshops and programs. Like I said, so many different things. I got here because I am consistently evolving. And I also love to teach what I learn to help other people avoid a lot of the wasted time and money that I've had to put into some of these lessons learned. It's like,
Amen.
just come work with me, leverage it from me. Let me help you get there faster. I love to accelerate people's growth, but really it's that consistent evolution that has gotten me here. So I started in like the tech game back in my 20s and managed different startups back then, and then took over different companies. At that point, I was like the senior director of mergers and acquisitions by the time I was like 27, to then realize I had no life because my life was my work. And I was like, this is not sustainable for me. So I had resigned and started to work for myself for the first time. And I really love that. So I built a self-employed consulting company. And it was so cool, Whitney, because you'd love this, because we both love to tour and like check out new places. The explorer in us is always like trying to figure out the where next and what do we want to witness next, right? So I would work 18-month contracts at a really high rate, and I would take 3 months off every year. And I did that for like 5 years. And the 3 months
jealous.
off, the 3 months off included 1 month of learning something new. So I would acquire a new skill set. 1 month of visits like with friends, family, and trying to like just tour around a new place, you know? And then the other month was the setup for like what's next, like what is it that I want to jump into next, go after next. And it was a really cool model that not many people, I don't think, have had explored at that time. I think virtual work has changed a lot and give people more capacity to do that now. But back then that was like unheard of.
Okay, what
And then
like year-ish was this? Like,
that was from 30 to 35. for me,
Gotcha. Okay.
age-wise.
Yep.
And it worked out quite nicely, it also allowed me to focus on my health, as well as relationship at that time. So I had a really sweet I always have had a sweet life. Like, I'm very fortunate because I kind of took the reins of how I wanted to lead my life quite young, which I think a lot of people try to step into a box someone else has created for them in order to survive life. I'm a more of a rebel. You talked about our fiery signs. Like, I'm more of a rebel around like, does that work for me or not? And if it doesn't work for me, I'm going to change it. You know, and I think that stuckness is something I've helped a lot of other people break through now through my practice too. It's that for women especially, I think there's a permissioning sometimes that we need before we take a leap. And I find that a lot in my practice working with other women in business, where I'm like, are you sure that's really what you want? Or did someone tell you that's what you should be doing? Are you shitting all over yourself? Or are you actually leading from a place that feels aligned to who you are? And we get to the core of that. So it's because I've led. I'm like I walk the talk, for myself. It's very easy then to also not only get them to the realization and that clarity, because that's how I work on myself. It's like, what do I want now, next, and then put the strategies and the plans against it to make it happen. So I've been doing that since a young age. That has really steered a lot of what got me to where I am today, which has been fun. I can't.
Okay. Um, I what's so interesting about you, Kareen, and maybe this is like why we jive so well, is that you're this very good mixture of like super practical, strategic, make it happen, but also definitely got this like woo woo, spiritual, very soul led and guided, you
Mm,
know what I mean? Beyond the natural kind of thing. And for anyone listening, Karina's an East Coaster,
yeah,
okay? And that is kind of rare on the
it
East Coast. On
is.
the West Coast, everybody is rubbing
Well, it's because
crystals
I lived
together.
on the West Coast, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, yes, you're right. Yeah.
but the West Coast definitely gets in you, of
Mhm.
like they're much more
Open.
open and a little more woo woo out there. So
Yeah,
it's very cool, but I think that's like one of your superpowers
it is.
is because I don't think you can lean into one or the other too much.
No,
There has to be a good mixture. If you are too rigid on the strategy side, there's like a piece of your soul that's going to be left behind or maybe unfulfilled. And if you're too woo
yeah.
woo, you're never going to make anything happen, you
You're not
know?
grounded enough to
Yeah.
actually be on this planet to actually have an exchange with other
Right.
people
It's
if
like,
you're too
yeah,
extreme. Yeah.
you meet those people, and I can appreciate it where they're just, like, floating in outer space, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, all that is really cool, but at the end of the day, like, I have 3 meetings right now, and I have
Yeah.
X amount of deadlines,
Right.
and, like, I actually have to, like, do
Right.
something. I
Yeah.
can't just, like, howl at the moon and rub some crystals together." So,
Sage it
uh
up, girl.
yeah, so for anybody listening out there, like, I feel like Kareen and I are very similar in that
Yeah. It's
space of,
integrated.
like, you've gotta have the yin and the yang together, especially as a business owner, or you're just gonna keep hitting a wall, you know?
Yeah, I mean, because I also feel like that. So the human experience to me is that the soul is in this human body, and the spirit requires um some attention in order to sustain all that comes at us in this physical sense, right? But then we also want really nice things, or we want to have ease around our choices, and we have to have a really healthy conversation and relationship with money, and figure out like how to feed our soul, to feed our spirit, like how do we actually have to go be strategic and go earn and have the integrative side of us show up authentically to make all of that happen. And I would say like I really didn't uh, I, I I really didn't embody that wholly in my business probably until maybe like 7 years ago. Was I
Oh,
on this? But yeah, well, because to wholly embody it means that like I don't feel ashamed to talk about it or show that
Mhm.
side of me. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
there's so many people who compartmentalize too much. And that
Yeah.
is just an exhaustion that I no longer could do anymore. It's like
Especially if
if
you've been in the corporate world, that is like
100%. Like
suppress,
I had
suppress,
to
suppress.
right. I call it like removing the veil, right? Like I had to put on so many veils in my life to survive the circumstance or survive that company,
Mhm.
survive that relationship, whatever it was. Veil, veil, veil. And then you lose who you are. And I would tell you that it actually wasn't until I was getting divorced where I finally started to do the inner work of like removing all the veils. Because when I got married, I put on the literal veil when I got married. And then you become this person and you think you want to be in order to be in this relationship, right? And then you realize that actually just bleeds into everything. Like, oh, I'm comfortable with this veil on and this works. And now I became someone throughout that relationship and also what I was choosing for clients and work life and all the things where I was like, I stopped recognizing myself. And my
Mhm.
spirit and my soul did not feel comfortable in this body any longer. So I became super disconnected for a period of time that with the healing process, which is why you and I can go woo woo, we have been through different experiences to then say, how do we make sure that like the spirit and soul is connected to all that we do?
Mhm.
And it's why I do integrate, like in my retreats, I'll integrate breath work because I'm a certified breathwork healer. I'm actually a certified holistic health coach. Like when I want to learn something for myself, I go deep into it. I get certified so that I can actually go teach others on
Yeah.
top of my multi-million-dollar business strategy plans and like how to actually scale a company and build tech and launch things. Like, why not have
Uh,
access to it all?
You're very unique in that aspect. So the people that you coach, do you see them struggle with one side more than the other? Is it more that they're so woo-woo and they're floating in outer space and they're like, how do like, are you more, or do you see the opposite? The people that are just so rigid in suppression that they need to
I,
open up more of the spiritual side?
I've been fortunate in the way I've designed my practice, I think my business practice and my coaching practice from an attraction standpoint to that I think it creates an identity in the right founder to or startup founder to want to work with me.
Mhm.
And so most of the people that I work with have a semblance of self, but they're struggling in like the method at which they want to achieve what they want to achieve and still stay grounded in themselves.
Mm.
Yes, I mean everybody's struggling. So your listener who hi, I know you're struggling. I am
Mm.
too. Like we're all
Yeah.
struggling, right? But it's a matter of knowing how to self-manage in order to be like grounded in the actions we want to take, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I do think everybody has a little something like I mean the amount of tears that I've had to hold where the pressure was just so much and then they finally release it with me to
Mhm.
then have that soul connection again to be like I'm not okay, that's okay and I can ask for help and get the help. That is the biggest like cycle I think disarmed. Like I disarm that ability to posture and just
Mhm.
show me what's going on. Like
Yeah.
tell me what's up. Like because I know we could solve anything. We're all masters of how, right? But where we are challenged the most is who we have to become in order to lead what we truly want to see happen.
Yeah.
And you could figure out the how so much faster now with AI and all the searchability of all the content that like is flown our way. But we have to start getting grounded in the who. Who do we
Yeah.
want to become? Who do we have to become to lead all these things? And I
Yeah.
think that's, part of I would say the consistent trend that I always come back to and be like, that's really great that you want that thing, but tell me why. And once you achieve it, then what?
What? Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not just the figuring out the how for ourselves, but what you were saying is like the leading other people in your
Yeah.
business too. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's managing people is the most challenging part of business, in my personal
Yes.
opinion. When
100%.
when you find team members that get it and they're on board and they are in the vision, then it is the biggest blessing of your life,
Yeah.
but, when you're trying to lead someone that maybe is just there for a paycheck, or you're not in alignment, so leading them, it's like us as leaders sometimes have to take, like, radical ownership. Anytime I've had to
Yes.
challenge an employee, I think to myself, like, what role did
What
I
was your
play?
part in it? Yep.
You know
Big
what I mean?
time.
Because
Yeah.
ultimately I'm the leader, and this is my business. So
Yeah.
what level of ownership do I need to take and acknowledge that got us to this place, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Because I
Um
think I think the biggest fear most leaders have is to be able to say, "I don't know."
Mm,
It's one of those things where which is why I built, like, my AI chat, so that when you don't know, at least come ask me. Like, no one's watching, but, like, ask, get comfortable with asking, even in front of your team, to be able to say, "Oh, I really want to take our business to this place, but I don't know how we're going to do it. So I would love to have a listening exercise and just, like, everybody give me input on how they think we can get there." And
mhm,
show the vulnerability of not knowing, but saying, "I want you all to come with me, and I know we're gonna figure it out. I might not like any of the ideas that come up, but it's gonna spark something in me to help me answer that." Right? And be more inclusive versus directorial. The other challenge that I always see too, Whitney, is that we're misplaced in our role in our business. So I have this CEO quiz that has changed the game for for so many people who are sitting in overwhelm and stress because they're trying to do all the things in their business. There are three distinct roles that every single business needs the skill set behind. So you have your creator, that's the C, your entrepreneur, that's the E, and your operator, that's the O. Every business has all three roles. Most people who start out a business are trying to do all three. Most
mhm,
of us, however, have one key role we're meant to play. That's innate to us. So are you the creator, the entrepreneur, or the operator? Once you discover that, you're like, "Oh my God, now I understand why, if I'm a creator, why I can't ever get paid, because I hate doing invoicing, and I don't want to look at the books, and I could care less about the finances. I just want to put out the clearest thing, but I'm trying to run this business." Well,
yeah,
okay, now you know to stay in your innate role, you got to go hire the
yeah,
entrepreneur and the operator to go. The entrepreneur is the one that goes and sells it, make sure there's a business model behind it, make sure there's relationships that are going to continuously want what you're producing. The operator makes sure there's execution against it, make sure that it's running smoothly, keeping everything efficient and lean, and the creator is actually designing, right? Like, what's next, and listening to the customer and figuring out how do we make sure we have continuous offers that go out to them, right? So when you identify that, and I'm telling you, just that simple exercise, I've helped partners get that clarity to be like, "Oh my God, we've been mismatched in the role. I'm actually the creator, but I've been trying to be the operator. I don't want to do that anymore. How do we replace ourselves?" Or they just need to flip it. Be like, "I love the operations, but you never give it to me because you assumed I didn't know how to do it because you're controlling it all," right? Like, so
mhm.
many dynamics. So
Yeah,
that
and I think a lot of
quiz
people too that we all start as operators in some way, right? Because we become good enough at a
at
skill.
doing.
Right, we
Yes.
become a good enough doer that people are like,
Yes.
"Ooh, can you help
Yeah.
me with all this doing?"
Right.
And so I fell into this trap as like, I'm good at the doing, right?
Yeah.
After over a decade, heck, I'm pushing 2 decades now.
Yes. Yes.
After a while, you feel like since you're good at it and you can knock it out easily, that you
Keep doing
should
it.
continue to do it,
Yeah.
or you're
But
like,
it
"That's
doesn't fill your spirit. Right. And
right."
it doesn't make you feel like you want to show up for it again. Then you build resentment. Okay. So when resentment starts to build in your own business that you created, now because you've given yourself a job, it shows up in the bank that way too. The
Mhm.
resentment has a lower return energy in the bank because you're not doing the things that are innate to you,
Mhm.
that are the things that your purpose for being here, that, like, you're meant to receive more and more for. So
Yep.
it's like a direct correlation when you're sitting in that frustration, that overwhelm of doing, when it's like, I could literally just train someone else to come in here and do it. It's how I scaled my business to 7 figures in less than 6 months, because I got out of my own way. I was trying to be the be all end all I'm
Yeah.
self-employed, right?
We
Like,
are the
this is what
bottleneck.
is this? Hey,
Usually
100%.
yeah, usually the person who establishes the business is also the one we think
Also,
we're the one that's driving it, but we're actually the one that's holding it back.
no. That's why I always repeat the Taylor Swift song. It's like, "Me, hi, I'm the problem.
No
It's
problem.
me." Always. Like, that
Yeah,
is, like, the entrepreneurial anthem if I've ever heard one.
yeah,
This is that.
100%, but you think
Yeah.
that it can't operate without you, but I think one thing we all have to recognize is that we're all replaceable,
Yes. Well,
and
it's
that's a
also
hard
if you
pill for
truly
some of us
wanna
to swallow.
build you're replaceable, but also it's like if you truly wanna build your business as an asset. So now we're like to speak strategically, it's
Mhm.
like if you wanna build your business as an asset, you have to think like an owner, and you have to stand on top of your business and look at what activities are required to make this something that's sellable in the future.
Yep.
Otherwise, you've given yourself a job, which is great, and this company will die with you. Fine, that is a choice, but just know the choice so that you understand where your stressors are coming from, but you also don't stress yourself on expanding past that if you don't want to treat this business as an actual entity, an asset in your life that actually drives revenue for you,
Yeah, and
right?
some people, that's what they want, is like
That's right.
they really aspire
Self-employment,
to still I have friends that are like that are
no
like, "I just
problem.
love doing this and it makes me a lot of money, so I'm just gonna do it." And
That's
I
right,
don't really care about selling or anything of that
which is
nature, and
great.
I was about to say, and to each their own. Some people don't
Yeah.
wanna build a team. In our
Nope.
space, like, micro agencies are becoming so common where it's like, 3 people and a bunch of AI platforms
That's all
running,
you need.
$500,000 worth of business, and it's like, "Hmm,
It
make
works.
you can make a good living off that,
Sure
but
you
I think
can.
what again, reaching down inside and saying, "What do I actually really want?" You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And designing from that vision of what you want. And also giving yourself permission to pivot if it's no longer what you want anymore.
Mhm.
Because I
Yeah.
think that's the other part that gets stale and is like this carrying energy because we all are evolving. That's why my program's called Evolve. It's like there's a cyclical way you have to look at your life and your business in order to ensure that it's actually moving with you forward and not holding you back from what it
Mhm.
is that you want to step into next.
Yeah, and earlier when you said, like, specifically women need permission, I'm like,
Mm,
"Oh my gosh." I have a dear friend that, seeks out life advice from everyone, business
yeah.
coaches, tarot readers, people on, Etsy writing, yeah, horoscopes and things
Yeah.
like that. And I just had this moment where I was like, dude, all the answers are inside of you. Why do we as women, and I am totally pointing at myself too, why do
Yeah.
we as women sometimes look for the answer everywhere else when really we already know
Yeah.
the answer? Even I take like I'm in the dressing room taking photos of dresses or like trying something on and sending it to my gay bestie, and I'm like, yes or no. I already know if it's a yes or a no.
Right.
Why? I mean, it is so lovely to have a gay man's opinion, let's just be real, but
Yes, it is.
because they will shoot you so straight. Ooh,
Yeah. I know. It's lovely.
it really is, but I already know if I'm gonna wear that. I already know if I
Right.
feel confident in it. I already know the answer.
Yeah.
So why do we as women
Question
constantly
ourselves.
why do we
Yeah.
not listen and just
It's a
go forward?
training. I'll tell you, we were trained to, right?
Mm,
We were trained for acceptance and belonging to have a judgment reflected back onto us to then know if we belong or not. It's a
mm,
training. It's
yeah.
just part of society training as well as like even in our family units training. It's like it's just one of those things. But also it's the way as a um the feminine energy within us is also always expansive and like have our arms out, like we want to be also inclusive and like take all the input in, like it's just part of why we're so successful at what we do,
Yeah.
why we can mobilize large teams, large initiatives, all the things is that we also look for and seek for validation externally to then inform us on how do we move forward through it. So
Mhm.
it has its positives and it has its um barriers sometimes. But the point is it's not even it's okay to seek input. It's
Yeah.
really, though, has to come back to, like you said, you already know what you're going to say yes or no to. You just needed something reflected back to you being like, okay, I am on the right track. Like we're always seeking that
Or
energy.
processing. It's almost like
Yeah.
even, my girlfriends and I, a lot of us voice note each other back and forth, and I just need to process it out loud
Yeah.
with somebody who knows me and knows, you know
To
what I
come to
mean?
your
That
answer. Yeah, to come to your
exactly.
answer. Oh, I know.
I'm
I've
not
been on the receiving end of that with you, girl.
yeah, I'm like, I don't need them to tell me what to do. I need trust
No.
me. Anybody who knows me, ain't nobody telling me what to do. You know what I
That's
mean? But I do sometimes just need to process.
yeah.
But I also think, and this is such a hot take, but I will die on this hill. Women seek out business partners for the dumbest reasons.
Mm,
They go into partnerships because they feel like they don't know what to do. So they get into a partnership that is, for business, already not aligned, but it's like they just need that other person to be like, "Well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? Well, what do you think?" And I'm like,
yeah.
that is no reason to take a business partner. When you have a business partner, the whole dynamic changes of who's handling what. I mean, I had a mentor many years ago that was like, Whitney, a business partnership is like being married without the sex.
Mm,
You go through all the hard stuff together. You've got, an office or employees and headaches and clients and trying to make bills and expenses and da, 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 all that with no icing on the cake. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah. It
I
takes
think
a lot.
yeah, I think that's why people get into these partnerships is they really just need someone to bounce ideas off of, or they need a
It's part of
sounding.
it. It's also the fear of doing it all alone. I think,
Mhm.
you seek out partners and think like, oh, if we do it together, then it's not all on me. And I agree that we should go after partners to come into our business or our initiatives in order to get more done. But again,
Mhm.
it goes back to that CEO quiz of like knowing what are you partnering with? Who are you partnering with? And what is that like actual skill set that aligns with your skill set, that
Yeah,
feels integrated with your skill set. Because I
I
think
always
if you go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, I always say the only reason I would ever, ever, ever consider taking a business partner is if that person had a skill that was integral to the business,
That's
and
right.
it was a skill that I could A, not hire someone for, or B, I couldn't acquire that skill myself,
Yeah.
you know? And if that's the case, I tell these people, I'm like, you don't need a partner just for a sounding board, hire a coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
Coaches are
go to your
great for the sounding board piece. You
yeah.
want partners for execution, like executional support
Yeah.
and expertise that you do not have that a level to help you get to the next place you're trying to go in your business, but to complement you too. I like product-based businesses, for example, because I coach a lot through I've been coaching a lot of product companies lately. There's a matter of knowing if you're the creator, especially, and now you need everything manufactured, for example, bringing on a manufacturing partner, super smart because you're not going to go into the manufacturing piece and like actually be on the line if you're
Yeah.
somebody that actually designs it, right?
No.
So if you think
Source
about that, and any of you who are listening or thinking about the business that you're running right now, and you're trying to assess, like, is this time for me to bring in a partner? You want to
Mhm.
consider it from a place of, will this partner join me and actually help me grow, or are they pulling away from what I do in order to just manage them? Like, you don't want to bring in partners where you're also managing them to get things done. It
No,
needs to
that's an
be like you
employee.
both have
Yeah,
a solid effort. Yeah.
yeah. If that's the case, just hire an employee and don't give them a percentage of your company, you
Well,
know?
so that's the other thing I want to talk about in partnership that I've seen, and I've had to unravel and restructure. Like, people hire me for this all the time, is that it's really important to do equity distribution last. So
Mhm.
even though you're bringing in a partner, or considering partnership, you first want to get alignment with the level of effort of like, what is each of this as a partnership, what are we doing? Like, what are you taking on? And are you expense to the company, like an operational expense that's going to make it more efficient? Or are you going to be driving revenue? right? Whatever it is, don't immediately go, oh, because we're partners, it's a 50-50 equity split. Like, I've had to undo that so many times because it doesn't make sense if you're partnering for a short period of time to just get your company launched, then figure out the right compensation plan for being an operating member versus here, take half of my company. Yeah, you really want to understand the roles, which is why, if you want to take the CEO quiz, that's what I recommend, especially if you're thinking about partners, because you want to bring in partners that are not what you are as a leader in your business. So
Yeah.
it's just heykareen.com/CEO, because that is literally like, at least identify that first. And
Yeah.
then when you're thinking about partnership, I've been doing more talks around partners and frameworks and partners, etc. So my app has a lot of that in it too. If you have questions around partnership and you want to get that kind of support, it's a really great way before you formulate any partnership. Go ask your questions for sure.
Heck yeah. I also know you have a retreat coming up that I think would be a great resource if somebody's like hearing all this and they're
Yes,
like, "Oh my
deep dive,
God."
all
Yeah,
the
like,
things.
ah, and it's coming up soon. So give us the scoop on the
Yeah.
retreat, what you guys are, where you're going, what you're doing, all the things.
What is it? Yeah, so I actually host them here in Florida because I live here now, and it's a great place to have a
Heck
retreat.
yeah.
So the next one coming up is just, it's a 2.5 days together. It's amazing. Like, entrepreneurs don't take enough breaks to actually take care of themselves and then
Mhm.
do a deep dive also strategically on their business, because we don't know how to turn it off, right? So
No.
this is not one of those woo woo retreats where like all you're doing is like breath work and howling at the sun and like taking, all the things. Like, I've done those, like, I get it, and they are good when you really want to check out. This is a retreat to focus on your business, and like we started this whole conversation about bringing your soul into your work, there is
Mhm.
this integrative point of actually taking the pause. So you will have pause. There might be some breath work, but it's not the whole time.
Yeah.
But some healing work, or some health based work, I should say, is day one is all about you and making sure you're grounded in you and who you have to become to lead in your business, and making sure we understand your vision for your business and how we're going to grow it from there. And then day two is all about strategic planning and getting that action plan together, making sure you understand your offers, validating them, etc., for what it is you're going after next. So it's 2.5 days together, fully facilitated and super fun, because I only bring 12 businesses into the room. Like,
I
I
love that
keep it
it's small.
intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep it intimate, very interactive. You leave with a full-on plan. Like, it's not just talking at you. I am
Mhm.
the only facilitator. Sometimes I bring a guest in just for like a lunch or a dinner to like bring in a different topic, but it's truly for you to focus on your business. And it's
Love
so much
it.
fun for me. Yeah. So that's coming up,
Awesome.
and that's just heykareen.com/retreat.
Sweet. All right. Well, thank you, Kareen, for coming on the show. Y'all definitely check out the info on the retreat. Also, Kareen, I know you just launched a podcast, right? Give us a scoop on your show.
Yes. All up in your business is the name of the show because
Literally, how freaking perfect is that? I'm like, literally, that is Kareen in a nutshell.
it
All up in
is.
your business.
Yourbusiness.com are all the latest episodes, and it's literally behind the scenes of coaching moments with other entrepreneurs. I have a few interviews sprinkled in there. There's a couple solos direct to you, but really to just make you feel less alone in your journey and know that there are ways to unblock, move through, and get the support you need. So all up in your business is because that's what I do. I'm up in everybody's business, so I decided to share it with y'all.
Heck yes. All right. Well, if somebody wants to connect with you personally, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Sure. Excuse me. I'm most, let's say, interactive on Insta. So if you want, at the real Kareen Z is my Insta handle. If you want to connect with me, DM me there. You could always just message me at ask@heykareen.com if you want, connection as well. But truly, just message me. I'm always available to at least see how I can support you.
Love it. Y'all go follow Kareen on Instagram. She posts a lot of good stuff there. We're going to drop the links down below so you could take the CEO quiz. You could check out the retreat. You could check out the podcast. So many different ways to connect with Kareen. Girl, this has been so awesome. Thank you so much for taking time to come on the show.
I love it. Thanks for having me, Whitney.
Hey, y'all, thanks for tuning in. We will see you on the next episode.